Greetings, friends. Welcome to Deep Nature Secrets. Today our topic is who or what created nature. Enjoy the video. Let's start. Nature is one of the most complex systems known to humanity. From microscopic bacteria to giant forests and deep ocean ecosystems, life on Earth operates through enormous networks of interaction and balance. Plants produce oxygen through photosynthesis. Oceans regulate temperature across the planet. Fungi recycle organic matter back into the soil. Insects pollinate flowering plants, allowing entire ecosystems to continue functioning. Modern science studies these systems through biology, chemistry, physics, and astronomy in an attempt to understand how the natural world came to exist. One of the central scientific explanations for the origin of nature begins with the formation of the universe itself. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe began from an extremely dense and hot state approximately 13.8 billion years ago. As space expanded, matter gradually formed stars, galaxies, and eventually planets. Scientists believe Earth formed around 4.5 billion years ago from clouds of dust and gas orbiting the young sun. Early Earth looked completely different from the planet we know today. Its surface was extremely hot, volcanic activity was constant, and massive storms shaped the atmosphere. Over time, temperatures decreased enough for liquid water to remain stable on the surface. Oceans formed, creating environments where chemical reactions became increasingly complex. One scientific hypothesis suggests that life may have emerged through natural chemical processes inside Earth's early oceans. Certain molecules may have gradually combined into more organized structures capable of storing information and reproducing themselves. Eventually, extremely simple microscopic organisms appeared. These early forms of life were vastly different from modern plants and animals. They were single-celled organisms living in ancient oceans billions of years ago. Over immense periods of time, life diversified into increasingly complex ecosystems. Today, DNA acts as one of the strongest pieces of evidence connecting living organisms. Nearly every form of life on Earth uses the same basic genetic system to store biological information. Scientists study DNA to understand relationships between species, inherited traits, and biological processes inside living cells. Another important scientific theory used to explain nature is evolution through natural selection. According to this theory, organisms possessing traits that improve survival are more likely to reproduce and pass those traits forward. Across many generations, populations gradually change over time. Scientists use fossil records, genetics, comparative anatomy, and observed biological adaptation as evidence supporting this model. Examples often include variations in animal populations, bacteria adapting to antibiotics, similarities between skeletal structures in different species, and fossils discovered in layers of rock. However, despite the large amount of scientific research surrounding these theories, many questions about nature still remain unresolved. Science continues investigating how non-living chemistry became living systems, how consciousness emerged, why physical laws appear finely balanced, and whether life exists elsewhere in the universe. Some scientists focus strictly on material explanations involving physics and chemistry. Others believe the complexity and apparent order of nature suggest intentional design behind existence itself. Philosophers and theologians throughout history have also proposed different interpretations about the origin of life, consciousness, and the universe. Because of this, the origin of nature remains one of humanity's largest and most discussed subjects. What science can clearly observe is that nature operates through extraordinary levels of organization. Cells contain molecular machinery. Forests function as interconnected systems. Planetary ecosystems maintain fragile balances involving climate, water, atmosphere, and living organisms. The deeper humanity studies nature, the more complexity appears. Modern telescopes reveal galaxies beyond imagination. Microscopes uncover invisible worlds inside a single drop of water. Ocean exploration continues discovering species previously unknown to science. Even today, large portions of Earth's oceans remain unexplored. Nature continues to surprise humanity with new discoveries, strange organisms, and systems far more intricate than once believed possible. And despite centuries of scientific advancement, the complete origin of life and existence itself remains one of the greatest mysteries ever explored. Humanity has developed different explanations for the existence of nature. Some rely primarily on physical processes and scientific observation. Others argue that the complexity and order of the universe point toward intentional design behind reality itself. Both perspectives attempt to explain the same world, the existence of matter, life, consciousness, and the extraordinary organization found throughout nature. Modern science is extremely powerful at studying mechanisms. It can explain how stars form, how cells divide, how ecosystems function, and how DNA carries information inside living organisms. Through observation, experimentation, and mathematics, science has uncovered many processes operating within the natural world. For example, genetics strongly demonstrates that living organisms share biological similarities. Fossil layers show that different organisms existed at different periods in Earth's history. Natural selection can also be directly observed in smaller-scale biological adaptation, such as bacteria developing resistance to antibiotics. Because these observations can be repeatedly studied and tested, many scientists consider evolutionary theory scientifically strong in explaining biological adaptation and variation within populations. However, there are also major questions that remain debated. One of the largest involves the origin of life itself. Science can study chemicals, amino acids, and environmental conditions on early Earth, but no experiment has fully demonstrated how non-living matter became a fully functioning living cell under natural conditions. Even the simplest known cells contain enormous molecular complexity, information storage systems, protein construction mechanisms, energy conversion, self-repair processes, and highly organized chemical coordination. This complexity leads some researchers and philosophers to argue that life may indicate intentional design rather than entirely unguided processes. Another major discussion involves information. DNA does not merely contain chemicals. It contains structured biological instructions. Some scientists and philosophers argue that meaningful information is one of the strongest arguments suggesting intelligence behind life, because in everyday human experience, complex coded information is usually associated with intelligent sources. Others argue that natural processes operating across immense timescales may gradually generate complexity without requiring direct design. Consciousness creates another major challenge. The human mind possesses self-awareness, abstract reasoning, morality, creativity, emotion, and the ability to question existence itself. Modern neuroscience can study electrical activity inside the brain, yet the exact origin of conscious experience remains deeply mysterious. Why physical matter produces subjective awareness is still not fully understood. Some believe consciousness emerged entirely from biological processes. Others believe consciousness points toward realities beyond purely material explanations. The structure of the universe itself is also frequently discussed. The laws of physics appear remarkably balanced in ways that allow stars, planets, chemistry, and life to exist. Small changes in gravity, electromagnetism, or nuclear forces could produce a universe incapable of supporting stable matter or living systems. This observation is often called fine-tuning. For some researchers and philosophers, fine-tuning strengthens arguments for intentional design. Others propose possibilities involving multiple universes or physical necessity. At the same time, science continues making extraordinary discoveries without requiring supernatural explanations for many natural phenomena once considered mysterious. Lightning, disease, planetary motion, and genetics are examples of areas where scientific understanding dramatically expanded over time. Because of this, many scientists argue that unanswered questions today may eventually receive natural explanations in the future. Yet despite centuries of investigation, some mysteries remain remarkably difficult to resolve. The ultimate origin of matter, the beginning of life, the existence of consciousness, and why the universe follows orderly mathematical laws at all. These subjects remain active areas of scientific, philosophical, and theological discussion. What becomes clear is that nature is far more complex than humanity once imagined. The universe contains structures ranging from galaxies stretching across millions of light-years to microscopic molecular systems operating inside living cells. And regardless of which interpretation people find most convincing, nature continues to inspire awe, curiosity, and deep reflection across human civilization. The stars continue moving above ancient oceans. Forests continue growing in silence. Life continues adapting, reproducing, and interacting through systems of astonishing complexity.